This is heavily connected to Haley Stevens' campaign because Jim Clyburn just endorsed her. Jim Clyburn is one of the great villains of the Democratic Party, an architect of the employment of idpol as a way of distracting from real issues. This ties back to the Congressional Black Caucus, which is it's exactly what it sounds like. Look, I've talked about this a lot before. I've talked about like idpol as a weapon here. The important thing is that, as I've said many, many, many times, cultural issues, identity politics has been weaponized by the capital class in an effort to distract people from more fundamental issues. We've talked about this a lot in relation to like worker politics, right? The existence of slaves in America, black slaves we brought over from Africa, and then they, had sex and had kids here, whatever. Like their existence has been used as a wedge, not only against their own well-being, but against the well-being of the white working class for as long as America has existed. The most obvious examples of this are the competition between sharecroppers and free non-sharecropping farmers. The fact that sharecroppers were subjected to incredibly exploitative employment terms meant that you could undercut non-sharecropping farmers. In the North, unions were busted in part due to a widespread propaganda campaign from capital owners that the white working class should not bump shoulders with blacks, Irish, Italians, and so on when forming unions, that it denigrated the ability for white workers to negotiate for their well-being and for their pay raises by joining organizations that were so low they would accept blacks, Italians, Irish, so on and so forth. The most common modern version of this is the complaint that Hispanics are taking our jobs, when if wages are low, it's because the capital class is not paying you enough, Always, racism has been a specter weaponized by the capital class in order to serve their interests. The Congressional Black Caucus has done this to a large extent as well, as part of a long-running and very recently hyped up campaign to try to psyop Black American voters into being anti-Palestine and pro-Israel. How many times have you guys seen some version of a black Democratic moderate on social media say, "Why should I care about the Palestinians? What have they done for us?" I've seen it quite a few times. I think oftentimes these people are paid agitators, but not always. The reason why they're not always paid agitators is because there's been an enormous propaganda campaign to try to turn black Democratic voters into a all-or-nothing wedge candidate issue against which all other minority concerns are secondary. This is made most obvious, in my opinion, in a recent statement from a lovely representative from the South Carolina Democratic Party. Hey, who knows what I'm about to talk about? Does anyone know? Who here knows what I'm about to talk about? I was scathing when I saw this. I was like grinding my teeth when I saw this. Knowers in the chat? Are there any knowers in the chat? Crockett, I said South Carolina, you fucking idiot. Pay attention to the words that I say. For reasons I'm not going to get into right now because it's a little bit complicated, the gist of it is that the Democratic Party was determining what order to do its primaries in what states, for the 2028 presidential election. And we went with South Carolina first, even though South Carolina is not a swing state and is not broadly diverse in a way that represents the broader American population. There's a whole bunch of complicated arguments for and against this, but I'm going to boil it down to the statement made from South Carolina Democratic Party Chairwoman Christale Spain. Because the argument was, should South Carolina be first? Or should Nevada be first? Here is the argument that she made, and this is going to become relevant in a second, okay? If Nevada gets elevated over South Carolina, it would be because of their Latino vote. So you would be telling black voters that you matter less than brown voters. And I refuse to believe that our party wants to send any type of message like that. Now, what do you think that means? The explicit statement here is that black voters matter more than brown voters. That is unambiguously her argument here. And she's doing this mob boss idpol rhetoric. Oh, that's a nice Democratic primary you got there. It would be a shame if somebody implied that your priorities were being motivated by a disinterest in representing the voice of black people, Like it's you know what I'm talking about here? It's a very like threatening statement. You wouldn't want me to call you racist, would you? Hey, you wouldn't want me to throw the South Carolina Democratic Party into disarray by accusing the National Democratic Party of being racist, would you? I recognize this rhetoric in large part because I saw it from Hillary Clinton's campaign, and also I saw it from Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett is also currently engaged in a campaign of vaguely gesturing at the Democratic Party being racist because they didn't prioritize her over Tallarico. In other words, it's racial grievance politics. I'm just going to say this really, really flatly, okay? I think the average black person in America is just probably about as motivated by racial grievances as any other racial group. Hispanics, Asian people, white people. That is to say, racial grievance politics plays a big role in their community, but the extent to which it plays a role is largely based on which political forces best appeal to them. I don't think that white grievance politics are that relevant to an individual white voter, even a Trump voter, on a case-by-case basis. But I think that as a group, white people are very susceptible to arguments that are oriented around white racial grievance politics. I think black people, Asian people, and Hispanic people are the same. For the most part, I think they're ordinary. I think that if they are appealed to heavily by candidates or causes that weaponize those racial grievance politics, things can get out of hand pretty quickly. Does that make sense? Does everyone understand the angle from which I'm coming at it? The problem is that black people in the higher ranks of the Democratic Party are essentially weaponizing black racial grievance politics as a cudgel against progressives. It's a form of ethno-narcissism that would be considered unacceptable in any other context. Can you imagine a white person saying this? Like, imagine the white head of the Vermont Democratic Party saying, "You be telling white people they matter less than brown voters if you don't select us as first for the 2028 presidential primary." That would be insane. GOP says it. The GOP does occasionally say it, and we do call them racist, in fairness. Or New Hampshire for a real example. Well, because New Hampshire is also a red state the way South Carolina is. Sorry. Does everyone understand the point that I'm making here? Rhetoric like this is unacceptable because it promotes racial infighting. It turns what should be a tactical consideration, how we structure the 2028 presidential primaries, into a politics of racial grievance, into an argument between which group matters most. This is very, very cynical and is largely being done to prop up these people's careers. Black people in America do not in any way, shape, or form benefit from South Carolina going first in the primary ticket. This is this woman's effort to weaponize race baiting as a way of promoting her career and her interests. Like, she benefits if South Carolina gets chosen first. Not the black people in South Carolina, but she personally. Does everyone understand what I'm getting at? Ethno-narcissism being weaponized by Democratic leaders, cynically weaponizing idpol in an effort to promote their wedge causes in a way that sounds like it's anti-racism but really isn't. Very, 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 very bad. Jasmine Crockett does this all the time. Jasmine Crockett right now is implying that the Tallarico Democratic Senate campaign is racist. She's vague posting about it. This is really bad because if she manages to depress even a few percentage points of black turnout in Texas, it would be really, really bad for Tallarico. Now, Tallarico has not run a racist campaign. The people of Texas chose him over her because she fucking sucks. And we all know that if Tallarico had lost, he would not be sitting the campaign out and implying that she was an anti-white racist, even though she probably is. Definitely is, actually, I should say. That those comments she's made about white and brown people, pretty fucking bad. Certainly Tallarico's not said anything like that. But what she's engaging in ethno-narcissism, right? A cynical appeal to her own racial identity as a marginalized person in an effort to throw off the Democrats' chances in the general. That's what I'm talking about here. So with all of that being said, all of that lead up, and it's worth pointing out, by the way, I am now often accused of being like far left for pointing this out, but the stuff that I'm saying right now is identical to what I got in trouble for talking about back in 2020 and 21 when I was talking about black separatists or black nationalists who were doing the exact same thing, cynically weaponizing ethno-narcissism as a justification for abysmal politics and then accusing you of being racist if you pointed them out. This is that infamous Professor Flowers conversation where my position was no matter what, no ethnic group should be able to lead an ethnic cleansing of another ethnic group, which was my position. I still hold it to this day. But back then, I was accused of being right-wing for saying this. Basically, what I'm saying is that ethnic grievance politics gives you room to make really, really, really bad arguments, regardless of which side you're on. It allows you to ignore the typical avenue of making political arguments in favor of cynically weaponizing accusations of bigotry as a way of like ad homing your way past the argument. Oh, you don't think South Carolina should go first? You're a racist. Oh, you don't think South African black people should be able to ethnically displace 6 million white Afrikaners? Oh, because you're racist. It's not a right or a left-wing thing. Ethno-narcissism is just bad. You should not make political arguments off of the idea. You shouldn't be basing your political argumentation off of like appealing towards racial infighting within a group. Okay. It's exactly like Zionism? Yes. Zionism right now is, in America, the most prominent and most cynically weaponized example of ethno-narcissism, where far-right Jewish nationalists and ethno-supremacists can go on media and just straightforwardly make arguments like, we have a right to this land because of the Torah, our religious right gives us the ability to kill, and people will treat it like a normal argument, and you're anti-Jewish if you disagree. Chuck Schumer himself, Democratic Senate Minority Leader, said that the reason for the fighting between Palestinians and Jews is because the Palestinians won't accept the Torah grants that land to Jews. Like, it's just racism, you know? It's just racism. Anyway, I'm sorry. That was a lot of lead up. So here's Jim Clyburn blaming Black Americans for the 2024 presidential election. Remember, it's impossible for the Democratic establishment to fail voters. The voters can only fail the Democratic centrist establishment.
What lessons did you take from the Biden administration? Like political lessons. Like, was there any political lesson you think there is to take from an administration whose central goal was to stop Donald Trump's return? And here we are.
And he stopped it.
I mean, you stopped it and enabled, I think some would argue.
Well, when the white vote turned out 71% 2 years ago, and the black vote turned out 59%, you tell me.
To be clear, like, let's just address this from first principles. The idea that black people are ever responsible for a Democrat losing to a Republican is insane. Black people are the most reliable Democratic voters by far. They are unbelievably consistent as a demographic in voting for Democrats. So for him to pull this card, to me, is a perfect example of how the Congressional Black Caucus does not represent or even care about black voters at all. He's like one of the biggest pushers of this line, this racial grievance politics, and he immediately turns and blames the most pro-democratic demographic in America.
Whose fault that is?
I guess
only 59% of African Americans went to the polls 2 years ago.
It's tough. I mean, for me personally, to blame black voters for the last election more than it is to blame President Joe Biden.
That's the fact. It wasn't Joe Biden on the ticket. It was Kamala Harris on the ticket.
For 107 days after he decided
to on the ticket.
I guess I just wanted to see if there was a clear political lesson you took from that moment and whether you think something applies in this kind of larger democratic rethink after. But I hear you. You're saying that you think it was a media problem. It was a branding problem. It was a candidate problem.
Damn, he really be saying blacks gave us Trump? Again, the reason black people don't show up at the polls is the same reason everybody else doesn't show up at the polls, because they're apathetic and feel disenfranchised by the options that they have. Black people, let's be real here. My argument right now is that it basically almost doesn't matter who wins elections, because the crash course that America is on is going to continue no matter what. Black people have been making this argument for decades. It's kind of like an Afro-pessimist sentiment, and for the most part, they've been right. No matter who wins, local, state, or federal, black people have continued to get fucked over. Like, the black community has not been enriched at all since the civil rights movement. The average black wealth in America is like $5 per household. Like, nothing has changed. They've been promised the world, the moon, time and time again. They even got their first black president, and nothing changed. Don't get me wrong. Republicans are still far more racist than Democrats. The problem is that the underlying forces that are ensuring continued racism against black people, systemic deprivation, are much more fundamental than the top-level cultural issues we engage with, right? The George Floyd protests happened. George Floyd was murdered, BLM protest. Hundreds of millions of Americans participated in some form or another. What happened after BLM? Biggest protests ever, by the way. What happened after BLM? What changed for black people? Nothing. So I would say that black Americans have been given plenty of reason to be pessimistic and feel disenfranchised. And you know what Kamala Harris was? She was a nothing candidate. If black people looked at Kamala Harris and thought she was a nothing candidate, they were right to think that. They were right to think that. It's correct. It's true. The Democratic Party continuously fails its voters and does a bad job advocating for them. Clyburn is a perfect example of this. Dude is like the most fucking entrenched deep state centrist fucker in the party, or at least one of them. He is the reason why the Democratic Party is the way it is, standing for nothing. And then he goes on a podcast and blames black people, for a Democrat not beating a Republican. Are you insane?
I didn't say that. The media had nothing to do with that 59%. If that 59% had been 69%, she would have won.
I guess, so is the argument that black people let Kamala Harris down?
Oh, in many instances, absolutely.
The idea that they did a bad job appealing to people never even occurs to him. It never even occurs to him because they hate you. It's like the number one thing a person should think about when running a campaign. How do I make people want to vote for me? But to them, it's not even a consideration. Not even slight, never even crosses their mind. It's incredible. It's genuinely inhuman. It's inhuman. I cannot imagine feeling this entitled to people's votes. I cannot imagine being as powerful and influential as fucking Clyburn and being so contented with my power that I will go on podcasts and blame black people for a Republican, for Trump winning, and never even consider the possibility that we might be doing a bad job appealing to voters. It is genuinely unfathomable to me.
If you don't show up to vote, what are you doing?
Is there no valid reason why black voters could not have felt heard by the last Democratic election? Is there no valid reason that they would have?
There might be. I'd like to know what it is.
Fucking incredible. Totally incurious. It's your job to know. It's your job to know. Oh, I'd like to know. Oh, I've never heard any arguments for why Kamala Harris might have been a weak candidate. Would you like to share some with me? Oh, yeah, I'm like a DC insider and have been for nearly a fucking century. Could you share some? I've never heard any. He's so out of touch. Yeah, want to know how out of touch he is?
I want to ask you about AI. There's so much that it's changing in terms of the future of work and our economy. Do you use AI? Have you ever used an LLM?
No, somebody was telling me I ought to, but I never have.
No ChatGPT, no Claude for you?
Believe it or not, I didn't even know what that was until about a week ago.
I want you to really stew on this, man. Really stew on it. I want you to really turn this one over in your head. I want you to imagine what the life must be like for a well-connected Democratic Party insider to not have heard what ChatGPT was until a week ago. I want you to really think about what that implies about how much he cares about and pays attention to everything. Hasn't he voted on AI bills? Yeah, I guess he didn't know what they were. I mean, we already know that people who work, we already know that people who work in Congress don't read the bills they vote on, but like, he'll just admit it. He cares that little. He'll just admit it. He'll be, oh, the reason Trump won? Black people. Kamala Harris ran a weak campaign. I haven't heard that before. AI? Yeah, I heard about that last week from my fucking great-grandnephew. It's unbelievable. It really is. It's shocking. That means they watch zero news and probably don't look at any intel or info. I've told you this before, but like people like this, a significant number of like very old senior Democratic insiders, mostly senators, they don't watch the news. They get all of their info from the consultants and special interest groups they've developed decades-long friendships with. They literally don't watch they don't watch the news. They don't know anything that's going on. Their bewilderment at the real world is in part sincere. They don't pay attention at all. They are not people like us. They are not normal people.
Which one?
Chat GPT or whatever it is.
You didn't know till a week ago. Wow, I'm jealous. You've got yourself in a bubble.
That may sound strange to you. I don't know. I didn't know what that was.
Okay, have you been to a data center or anything like that? Or no? Okay. I guess I'm wondering, like, with the speed of technological changes right now, with how much people are anxious about the ways AI and work might change because of it, how do you effectively legislate as a member who is distant from some of those technological shifts that are affecting folks' lives right now?
I have a great staff. You know, I wish I could know everything. Mm-hmm. I don't know everything. And I don't spend my time trying to learn everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do with this, really. I don't.
Mm-hmm. What I spend my time doing is trying to surround myself with people who do know stuff.
Yeah, there you go. The consultants. There you go. Like, he's so removed from reality that he doesn't even realize what he's admitting. It doesn't even occur to him that the average person might find it repellent, that he doesn't know what he's voting on and just surrounds himself with insiders who tell him what to believe. Yeah, he has no idea how bad this looks. He has no idea. He has no clue whatsoever. It's not even, just totally different world. Like, this is the bourgeois capital democratic equivalent of an aristocrat walking through a village and talking to proles or peasants and just asking them about how they enjoyed their last feast or whatever. Oh, it's the summer, it's the summer solstice. Did you not enjoy the festivities? Oh, surely you laid out a golden pheasant for everyone at your house to enjoy. Talking to people who are wearing, like, linen potato sacks for clothing or whatever. Like, that's the equivalent of this. And you mock and you laugh, and then all the peasants stew in their hatred, but no, there's nothing they can do about it. But, like, this is that. The difference is that old-timey aristocrat really didn't have much of a choice but to interact with other people in a social class. Whereas Clyburn can just open a computer and learn about the whole world, and he chooses not to. It is worse than the aristocrats.
I know how to legislate. I know how to build relationships. And I hire people to bring knowledge into the game that I can put to practice.
Sorry, I wanted to talk about ethno-narcissism. There's a big overlap here. I feel like over the past, especially year, my big ideological war has been one internally within the Democratic Party against anti-democratic sentiment in the party. Like, my pitch essentially is the reason Democrats are so weak on fighting Trump is because they have no interest in doing so. None whatsoever. People like Clyburn have no interest in fighting Trump meaningfully, because not only because they're ideologically not really opposed to Trump, but because they are so weak and stupid they wouldn't even know how if they wanted to. In my mind, what I'm fighting for is a return to liberal democracy as opposed to just, like, managed corporate democracy. A system where people get in on patronage, seniority, and cynical appeals to ethnic politics. You know, I feel like I'm basically, like, championing liberal values here to an extent, to a democratic system that does what it says on the tin. And I think this overlaps heavily with the ethno-narcissist bit a little bit. The idea that, like, the centrists in the Democratic Party are perfectly comfortable elevating ethno-narcissism, especially from, like, the Congressional Black Caucus, because they're aware of the fact that it's often used to weaponize cults of personality surrounding senior members rather than, like, an actual democratic outcome. To that note, like, Jim Clyburn endorsed Haley Stevens just a couple of days ago and campaigned with her.
Voters overwhelmingly oppose corporate and special interest funding, but the Black Caucus has long been corporate aligned. You yourself has been one of the biggest receivers of pharma money, but 85% of Americans support.
Like, if you think that these people actually represent Black Americans, I think you're delusional. Or at least I'd ask you to check your priors on this. Do you think that, like, the average Black American is politically pro-corporate? Like, don't you think it's odd that the Congressional Black Caucus is overwhelmingly represented by conservative, pro-corporate, like, AIPAC stooges? Like, do you think that represents the will or the best interests of the Black Democratic electorate? Or do you think there might be something a little more cynical going on here? Candace Owens called attention to this phenomena, but she's a fucking Nazi grifter, so who cares, like, about her analysis? She still pointed it out correctly, though. The idea that the Democrats take black votes for granted, so they weaponize them against other groups. They know black voters are going to turn out, so they use them as the first shield against progressives.
Legislation that will end dark money. Is the CBC on the wrong side of this?
No. You know, and as well as I do, that no white person in this country came out of slavery. I'm not that far removed from it.
Mm-hmm.
I know how my parents grew up. They didn't grow up with wealth.
Mm-hmm.
They can pass that wealth on to their children because they never had it. I serve with people here who are multi-millionaires.
Why do you take so much PAC money? Because we were slaves or something type shit. What does this have to do with anything? You know, with racial grievance politics, anything could be your argument.
And if they decide I'm not going to take any kind of corporate PAC money because my mom and daddy can write the check.
What?
So we are supposed to stay out of politics because we don't have the family wealth to support it? Or do we sit down and find common ground? And let me tell you, you mentioned Farmer.
Mm-hmm.
I would challenge you to find me one.
Like the argument here he's making genuinely is that black people should be allowed to accept super PAC money because it's reparations. That's unironically the argument being made here. We are materially deprived due to the history of slavery, which is true. That's why we should accept money from conservative PACs and corporations that perpetuate the economic conditions that keep black people in the dirt. It's again, it's not a rational argument. What it is racial grievance politics, because what he's implying here is that if you have a problem with him accepting a fuck ton of pharma money, it's because you're anti-black. Oh, you have a problem with Jim Clyburn, a dinosaur, accepting millions of dollars in corporate PACs and APAC money? Oh, what? Do you not respect the fact that black people have been historically materially deprived in America? Why are you so anti-black? Just say you hate black people.
Vote I have ever cast that Farmer supported and my constituents didn't. Mm-hmm. You ain't gonna find it. Mm-hmm. So you must ask, why do I get so much support from Farmer? Because I am the biggest proponent of medical research that you're gonna find here.
I'm sure.
It ain't about voting the big pharma, is about voting for the future health of people with heart disease, diabetes, cystic fibrosis, all these things that kill people that I'm trying to find cure for. And
platitudes. The idea that pharma companies give money to candidates who are most anti-heart disease is pretty funny, though. Like, oh, why have massive pharma? Why is like Moderna and Pfizer giving you so much money? Oh, it's because I'm anti-heart disease. That's the reason why. That's totally the policy they're giving me money to support. The anti-heart disease policy. That's what's happening here.
That's all it is.
Yeah, you're saying there's no daylight between your constituents and those votes you were taking. But I do want to go back to your earlier point, because it is important to say, and I want to acknowledge that black candidates often do not come from the same amounts of personal wealth.
Not often.
Yeah, that a lot of other members of Congress have. I think that's an important, true point. The ability to raise money is often more difficult. But I mean, theoretically, you know, the CBC or others could advocate for public funding of elections. They could advocate for small dollar numbers and people raising money through that. Like, it's not just,
you know, you could just like believe in democracy. You could raise your money through grassroots donations by soliciting the support of the voters. Nah.
Saying, like, aren't there other avenues that they could take that will put them more aligned with a Democratic base that's increasingly against corporate money?
We do.
Okay. All right. I hear you.
Phenomenal. Truly phenomenal. Look at the donor list to his foundation. Listen, man, he's just anti-heart disease, okay? He's just anti-heart disease. What is this? I'm sorry.
who had any
Okay, off to a good start.
who had the slightest inclination to vote for Mondami. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. You sick. Mondami had a celebration down in City Hall of all the immigrants, all the Muslims, all the immigrants down there. No, here's a man that hates the Constitution and that which makes us Americans. He's a Muslim, for crying out loud. He's a jihadist at core. His wife is a lesbo jihadist, Hamas supporter, Intifada believer. Here you nigga talking about Mondami gonna give us a free bus ride. Hell, it doesn't matter if they're handing out free sandwiches in hell, I ain't going.
Okay, guys, I'm really sorry. I know this isn't the point here. I understand that his politics are indistinguishable from that of a racist Republican, but I have to draw attention to the fact that, and you can take this as a huge L for white people, he's so much funnier than any white person with this politics would be. Like, he's humor mogging the fuck out of what's his face from the Boondocks? That guy wouldn't be funny if he was white. Yeah, Uncle Ruckus. Dude wouldn't be funny as all if he was white. If he was just some fat white racist fuck, it'd be like, oh great, he's a fat white racist fuck. But Ruckus is funny as shit. You know?
You crazy? You get a free bus ride. Don't get a free bus. Get your ass a job. Get a job. Go to work.
Oh my god.
Free bus ride. I always want something free. Oh, he's our boy. All you gotta say to get a nigga is say we got free food. And then talking we have free grocery stores. You
holy shit. I haven't. Holy fuck, this guy's so fucking funny, dude. Holy shit. He's ulting.
should have seen the niggas jumping up and down.
Oh,
Won't
fuck.
work, don't got a job, can't hold a job, ain't got no money, don't have no security. But Mondami gonna give us a free food. Damn! I don't need you to give me no free food. I buy my own. There's something wrong with black folk. This got Moses in trouble. You think I shopped him? Sell out.
Oh my fucking god. I'm sorry. I don't even know if that was relevant to the segment that we're doing right here. God, that's, oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm trying really hard to take, because like this is all really, really bad politically. By the way, Clyburn endorsed Clarence Thomas for the Supreme Court. Did he really? Wait, did he really? Clarence Thomas, the most Hitlerite Supreme Court justice?
Commissioner Clyburn. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure for me to be here today to present testimony in favor of my good friend Clarence Thomas.
Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, I actually didn't know that.
I've known Clarence for 10 years, and I consider him to be a personal and professional friend.
At what point do you begin to question whether or not this person should have a right to be a kingmaker in democratic politics? You know? Like, at what point do you go, I think that you might have found out PV was responsible for 20% of all the phone bank dials made on behalf of American Heroes? That is awesome. Holy shit. Yeah, PV, you got to post more of your, like, phone bank dubs, because PV has been running up some crazy phone banking numbers for some of these candidates. Hey, get in on Abdullah Syed. I know there's, like, so many people are canvassing for Abdullah Syed that it's difficult to, like, crack the 10% margin or whatever, but, like, I want him to win by Assad numbers, so get in on there, okay? We had a historical number of... Don't read that aloud, but I can't call it anything else. Mr. Wynn, you can't say that. We assume... If you are black and you are in chat, I know you want to say really funny shit, but you have to remember that everyone is assumed white in the live streaming political... If I was like a black YouTuber doing watch-alongs to Naruto episodes, you could say N-word soft A in chat because everyone would assume you're black. But we are... This is a very white boy political live streaming news coverage channel, you are all assumed white. I know it's not fair. I know it's not fair. I know it's not fair. You can't say it. You can't say it. Oh my God, man. I'm sorry. I didn't realize he fucking called Clarence Thomas his good friend. Well, okay. Let's round this off. Hold on. Let's round this off with a clip that got so many people. Clarence Thomas also weaponized idpol. Yep. His campaign called the sexual harassment allegations against him high-tech lynching, so Clyburn's right at home here. Listen, my position on this has been consistent for as long as I've been a live streamer, okay? If a person is using their demographic identity as a way of skirting past legitimate arguments, that is a massive red flag. The average person, the average regular human being, does not have consistent political views. People have biases, people have emotions, people have irrational beliefs that they construct political arguments around. People don't discover normative ethics and then build up their positions from first principles. It's very rare that people do this. Almost everyone just has a set of vague, generalized notions that they then build arguments around like a cocoon, okay? Most people are like this, politician or otherwise. It's very, very, very common to use your demographic identity as an excuse to avoid a real argument. Men do this all the time. Women do this all the time. Whites, blacks, Hispanics do this all the time. The main difference is in how politically effective these arguments are and to what end they are used. You understand? So white racial grievance politics is by far the most dangerous racial grievance political bloc in America. But that doesn't mean it's the only one. These arguments are by default bad. They are dangerous by their nature. It's why I've always called out racism from black people and sexism from women. Because I think the arguments themselves are bad. Not because I think it's only being done it's only bad when being done by the dominant power group. It's most dangerous when being done by the dominant power group. But it's always bad. Let me round this around here at this very popular clip. At a Haley Stevens event just a couple of days ago, a Farmington school board member showed up and attracted a lot of drama. Big supporter of Haley Stevens here. And Haley Stevens is, at least according to her, a big friend of the Michigander black community. Oh, this one? Yeah, you've probably seen the clip before, but I feel like this is a good way to cap off where racial grievance politics end. I want you to ask yourself if this sounds like a Democrat to you.
Oh, yeah. So we're here with Angie Smith, and you're from Farmington.
Hi, I'm Angie Smith. I'm from Farmington Public Schools. Top vote getter for Farmington Public School Board. Been on the board 11 years. I am supporting Haley Stevens because she's that candidate. We need someone that can represent all of us, not just one race, but all races. Haley has done great work in Farmington and in Farmington Hills. She knows what she's doing. And anytime you can go to a Democratic convention and be booed and walk from behind a podium and stand there while you're being booed and things thrown at you, that's our person. So let's vote August 4th for Haley Stevens. Thank you.
Thank you. When you say, not just for one, what do you mean by that?
Well,
you feel the other candidate is...
The other candidate seems to be he doesn't work a room. You have to know how to work the room. Don't come out speaking only Arabic. Don't come out with your Arabic music on. Represent everyone. My DNA is my DNI. Well, my DI. I'm a mother of a lesbian. I'm Puerto Rican and Cherokee with a grandfather that was a white man from Ireland. Represent us all. Don't just represent one ethnicity and one race.
So I feel like this is a really good cap off here because the framework of the stuff she just said right there was progressive. Don't just prioritize one race, advocate for everyone. Don't just prioritize one race. That's nominally progressive rhetoric. But the shit she actually said was racist as fuck. Don't just come out here speaking Arabic with your Arab music. What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck do you... I don't even know if I've ever heard Abdullah Syed speak Arabic. I don't know. Maybe at some point. I don't... Like, what an insane... Yeah, it is the picture-perfect equivalent of Fox News broadcasters saying, I don't support racism. I support anti-racism. Just pull your fucking pants up like the rest of us. It's 1-to-1. 1-to-1. Yeah. Last one, this guy's insanely racist. It's a photo, so obviously we can't keep looking at too raw, too real. The dude is literally a Mossad psyop, okay?